Three, two, one. All right. Let's see if we are going live. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Let's see if we are going live. So I am now live on Facebook. Welcome everyone. For thank you for watching. We are just getting everything started here. So today we are going to talk about Australia, Down Under. So if that's a bad um, let me. It's here. Go to Petra's Music Condo. Come on. Okay, give me a few seconds. We need to get things arranged there. In video. Video should start soon. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right, guys. So we. How are you today? Um, I had an interesting week, and especially today was very interesting. Gonna tell you a little bit about it. So, as you know, I like streaming. I like streaming very much, and that also means that occasionally I do some streaming for the local market. And I've been working on a thing called Carnival, which is very huge over here in the Netherlands, especially in the south part of the Netherlands. And what I did was that I checked at the local theater if we could actually stream from that. So I tried to go live today. I say tried because it didn't work. Almost 100% for sure. It's about something about the firewall ports that are not working well. And sorry if it's too much of a technology thing, but at least we now know it. And the gig is roughly 2 weeks from now, so we still have quite some time to get things organized. And but it's really great because it's a new venue, and I am looking forward to having some experience with that venue. It's really 100% made for acoustics, so it's really an interesting, small yet nice venue. There's a lot of technology in there as well. They can actually, you can sit or you can stand. They have like this really awkward way of getting rid of all the chairs in one go. Is like fully automated, which I really enjoyed looking at. And I am a little bit afraid of heights, but I actually went all the way up to like 2 stairs, and it was just like a straight um, a ladder. So that was kind of interesting. So let me see if there are some people already in the house. I see René is in. Welcome, René. Guten Abend, indeed. Good evening for the English speaking. I see Floyd is in. Welcome, Floyd. I've not seen you for a long time. I hope that everything is fine with you. Please let me know if everything is fine. It sounds good. Thank you so much. Actually, Floyd, what I did is I changed the way that I do the sound. I don't have the lapel mic anymore. I'm just using this microphone right there, which is, I know it's on this shot, but that's not a big deal for me. It's not in the close-up shot. Let me just show you. So if I go to this shot, you're not able to see it, and I think this is really a nice way of doing things. And actually, it sounds really good also. So yeah, it's a good microphone indeed. So let's go back. How exciting! And my dad, he is showing off his German because he's really good at it. So that is great to see you guys having so much fun indeed. So we will be talking today about Australia. I was really considering what to do today, because we have done some interesting episodes, but I think I've never really had an episode about a country. So I thought, well, what is the first country? Well, we can do America, but that's a little bit of a let's say a standard thing. That, I mean, everybody wants to start with America, but I wanted to do something else. But I wanted to do something with the AS and Apple. So I thought, well, Australia, big country, a lot of different really good acts come from there. But we will be talking about that. And while we're at it, maybe you can comment on the artists that are from Australia, if you know them. If not, well, that's fine. But because we will have a lot of names that we're going to talk about today, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter version of Petra's Music Condo. I'm not sure if it's going to be like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. But we will definitely have a lot of fun. That is for sure. So again, really great to see you. Worth, it sounds really good. Nice upgrade. Yes. So thank you, Floyd, for your comment. Yeah, it's a really nice mic. It's an Audio Technica mic, and you'll probably know where I have it from, LSP, right? So it's one of their favorite mics, and it really sounds natural. And actually, I also find it very pleasant for myself, and which is also very important as well. Um, so that was today. Looking at what I've done so far, but I've also done some other stuff this week. Yesterday, I had a great stream and had a lot of fun, but it was late. So yeah, I am really looking forward to get some early rest today. So that is kind of interesting. And the week itself was well, maybe a little bit standard, but we did some really cool stuff at work. Obviously, the only thing that I can talk about is that we are merging two teams, which means new faces, which means new interactions. I love interacting with people, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it's going to be an interesting time. We're going to do some really cool stuff for the company, so that is something that I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, indeed, it's an LSP call out. Indeed, Floyd, that is absolutely the case. Naps are the best, like power naps, right? Yeah, I've been trying to do some power naps, but it's not. Well, it didn't work out today. Like I said, I had to go to the local theater to do some testing there. Also, my radio show was there. And now, come to think of it, this is the first time that I actually forgot to go live before this show to, talk to you about today's show. But I know that you guys are still interested, and I know that I'm at this time, so that is great. Um, Let me see. I got a feeling that my comments are not updating every single time, so let me look at that in this last minute before we go live. Anyway, what have you been up to today? What have you been up to today? That's really something that I would like to know. I see that Brandon is here. Welcome to see you back. I hope that your eyesight issue is fixed. Are you so? Please let us know how it's going with you. And Renee says I haven't slept much, as well. Had to restore a server for my uncle. And what kind of server is that? Maybe you can say that about it. I think it's gonna be like a Linux. Looking at your interests, I would say. So in a few seconds, we will be going live for the show. Just about 20 seconds to go. And one last time that we can go with the show. So let's go into Petra's Music Condo today with Australia in about 7 seconds, and then we go live. So there we go. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Petra's Music Condo. I hope that everybody is having a great time. I am actually having a fantastic time. I have been talking about it during the pre-show. That is the show that we do typically right before we start with everything. My name is Petra Verbruggen, and we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and and maybe in the future also Periscope. But at this moment, we are focusing right about on those two at this moment in time. In the meantime, let me start make sure that this is working correctly. So yes, indeed, if you like this video, please go ahead and share it. The more the merrier. I like to really have as much as possible roommates so that we can build a community and do some really awesome stuff. And about community, before I really start with the show, I have been working with one of the roommates, Jordan. I'm not sure if he is in the chat room at this moment, but we have been working on something in secret. We're not going to announce it yet, but it's gonna be maybe next month or so. So there's something really exciting going to happen very shortly. So again, my name is Petra Verbruggen, and we will be going to talk about Australia. So before we really start the show, if you know a band from Australia that you really like and you want to talk about, please let us know in the comments. And I look forward to whatever you come up with today. And I just forgot to do this. So welcome everyone, welcome to the show, especially to my roommates. You see that right here below, people that sponsor the show and make the show really possible. And so I call those really the roommates of the show. So today we're going to talk about Australia. What is how is Australia related to other countries? So are there any things that are different? Are all genres there? I mean, do we have jazz? Yes, we do. Do we have rock, pop? Yep, we do. Do we have some aboriginals as well? Yep, we have that too. So let me just say we have quite a lot of different things going on, and I really look forward to talking to you about it. But before we start, this show is every Saturday at 9 p.m. Central European Time, 8 p.m. if you live in the UK, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and noon if you are on the Pacific coast of the US, and 7 a.m. that is then on Sunday morning if you live in Australia, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So I don't do this all by myself. I really need you to participate to make this a great show to look at and have some great interaction with each other. Before we jump into the main topic of today, let's talk about the news like we always do. And today we are going to talk about Queens of the Stone Age, M83, but we start with Bush. Yeah, so in March of this year, we let me let me do this. So on March 10th of this year, Black and White Rainbow will be released as the seventh album of Bush, and the album is fully recorded and produced by frontman Gavin Rossdale. The first single is Mad Love. The English group became famous all the way back in 1994 with the album 16 Stone, which had this enormous hit, one of my favorites, called Glycerine, and this is the video clip of that song. In 2002, the band split because they didn't really do as much as they wanted to do, but they came back in 2010 because Gavin managed to get some other people involved so that they could start that. Black and White Rainbow will be the second album of the new with the new members of the band. The other album was in 2014, and that was the release Man on the Run. So that is for now what is about Bush, and there is a lot to tell you about Bush in the future, but that is something which is not that in stone yet, so I just typically will, I don't really want to talk about it as long as it's not really set in stone. However, well, let me just say the next one is something that I was a little bit, hesitant about if I would talk about it. But Roy Sanders from Mastodon already hinted that the Queen of the Stone Age will be working on a new album. And last week, which is the Queen of the Stone Age, actually posted pictures on Instagram of a studio, which maybe we think it's really a proof, and I actually think it's a proof that they are really working on a new album, and it will be their first album since Like Clockwork. The idea of the album will be released that the album will be released this year, and of course there will be a world tour if that is going to happen. That is actually what Sanders says. So let me just say, I think that that's really something that I think that will be going on, and it will actually work. The singer and bassist of the group is, together with the guitar player of Queens of the Stone Age, is actually also part of a supergroup, Gone is Gone, and they are really working on that at this moment. So that's the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant to really, talk about that. And the last one about the news is actually something what I really find interesting. Also as a geek, is that it's really a remarkable collaboration of M83 and Microsoft. The band already released an 8-bit remix of their number Go, which is set to release which was released in 2016 on the album Junk. Now the French band has this stylish clip that you're seeing here, and it's actually a video game. You can actually really use it. So you're listening to the music from M83, and you have really a game element as well. It's part of a new project called Meet Me at Go project from Microsoft, and they're not the only group that are working on that. But there, for instance, Chalice Gambino, Grimes, and Big Grimes are also part of this project from Microsoft. And it's really just an objective, like you have to race and you have to get as much as possible as points, and then that is what they want to achieve with that. But again, like I said, I'm really interested in this is a future, because interactivity is really something which is important going forward, because that is what we call awesome. Yeah. I had this interaction with my mom. She said that I used the word a lot, so I thought, well, let's just not use that word anymore, but just show it the whole time. Anyways, let me see what we have here. I see Renee is saying SQL database server and Windows machine. Oh yeah, he was talking about a server that he was working on. It's interesting that it was a Windows machine. I didn't see that one coming. Floyd, it's indeed a secret project with Jordan, and we're not going to tell anything about it. Right, Jordan? I see that you're in the room, so welcome, Jordan. And my mom is also in here as well. Anyways, that is the news for today, and obviously we have some exciting topic to discuss, and that is about Australia. So let's just start with the first thing about it, and I will look into your comments, but there's a lot of text going on, so I will break up a few times just to see if you guys have some remarks that you want to talk about. So please bear with me, so to speak, right? All right, so let's start with the music of Australia. Has an extensive history made of music societies Indigenous Australian music is part of the unique heritage, 40,000 to 60,000 years, with the iconic didgeridoo, for instance. Contemporary fusions of indigenous and Western styles, like the works of The Next Address, Christine Aru, and Jeffrey blah blah. I'm not able to say that even if I would try. Makes it a really a distinct Australian contribution to the world music, and I really enjoy the didgeridoo is really an awesome instrument. It's so okay. So, but next to that, we have a lot of Western influences. Like, for instance, we got Australian folk music, we have country, we have Anglo-Celtic influences as well, and there is a lot of European. There's a lot of European influence, but also US and UK, and that is really something which is noticeable about Australian rock and all the other genres in general. So let me see if there are some comments in the meantime. Nope. All right, then we will continue. Like I said, so if you look into, for instance, let me start with opera singers. It's not my genre, if I may say that like that, but Dame Nellie Melba and Dame Joan Sutherland, and I actually know them. They are from Australia. I thought they were American, that's something that you will see across this lineup of what they have. Like, for instance, Olivia Newton-John. I okay, I knew that she was Australian, but I think that a lot of people would say, well, she's American, but she's not. John Williamson also has some great hits. Missy Higgins, Kylie Minogue, Natalie Imbruglia, Gay Sebastian, Delta Goodrem, Sia, Gache. Gache is actually also something which I really like, because Gache is actually a Belgian person who is moved to, well, who is grown up in Australia, but he has a lot of Belgian influence. And if you know how Europe is situated, then you know that Belgium is really right south of the Netherlands, so we are neighbors. Rick Springfield is also an Australian person. Jet, Wolfmother, Tame Impala, which had a really huge hit last year. Like, what say? Not hits, I would say even. So Australia has produced a wide variety of rock and popular music. From the international renowned work of AC/DC is Australian. NXS, who doesn't know NXS, right? Nick Cave, The Seekers, and pop divas like Delta Goodrem that I just said, and Kylie Minogue. John Furnham is also an Australian. Paul Keller, and again, those indigenous Australian music and jazz. That is really something that I think has really contributed to the world music. Among the brightest stars of early Australian rock were, for instance, Cole Joyce, Johnny O'Keefe, and the Easter Beats were also a folk group. The Sneakers had a significant local success and some international recognition. And pop rock was immensely popular back in the 80s, and that's really my era. If I have to, if I would really put something in, I would say starting at 85 till 95, that is typically my era. If I would, that's what I think. AC/DC, like I first said before, Mental as Everything. Midnight Oil is also from that era. The Ice House, really awesome music. And yeah, it's really something that I have been listening to very much. So I'm really interested if you were watching that as well. No reactions, but I do see the remark of Jordan. We only talked about the secret project that you were working on. So, but we didn't say anything about it. Anyways, going back to the looking a little bit further, for instance, and let me put this in there as well, because no, this is the wrong one. Sorry about that. Sorry. All right. Okay, there you go. So the 1990s had an increase of the popularity of indie rock in Australia, and I am a really an alternative person. So, like Silverchair, I didn't even know that they were from down under, but there's a lot of different musics coming out at that. Alternative rock also began to gain popularity midway through the 90s, with grunge and Britpop style was very popular. Savage Garden is one of them. The Living End is one of them. They had really quick success in the United States, so that's maybe also the reason why I would say that I would think that they were from the States, but they weren't. Ice Cream Hands, Powderfinger, these are not the bands that I knew of, but they seem to be very big across the world, but not so much here. So that was something that I was a little bit hesitant to talk about. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about before we have to sign off is that much of the success of the rock in Australia is attributed to non-commercial Australian broadcasting corporations like the Triple J radio station, and that's really what I like about radio stations, especially if you're non-commercial. We I mean, I'm also working at a non-commercial radio station. We have the ability to provide some music which is not necessarily a commercial success, right? So that makes it possible to really give you some more in-depth knowledge about the genre, and play some music that are not really typical for that era. So that was all the way back from 1975 till now, and they had really some really great festivals, like for instance the Big Day Out Festival, which is really a showcase Australian and international. Sorry, it is a festival that showcases Australian and international acts, and the lineup is really impressive. I mean, Foo Fighters has been also there, and you know that I'm a Foo Fighter fan, so that's something that I typically also look at, and. That is really what I wanted to talk to you about if it comes to Australia. I think, again, looking back at all those names that I was talking about, looking back at all those video clips that I've shown today, there is quite an intensive amount of music coming from Australia these days, especially also like dance music, which is I think really a thing in Australia. It's also a thing over here in the Netherlands. And I want to talk about, for instance, the Netherlands like in a few weeks from now, like maybe next month or so, because I really think that you will be amazed about how much people are actually pretty famous if it comes from a small country like the Netherlands. Not that I'm saying that we have great music. We also have not so good music, to put it very blunt. But generally speaking, I really like the music, and especially if it's popular or rock oriented. Um, which leads me to some final remarks. Let me see if you guys have some things to talk about. No. Again, it's a shorter episode as normal, but again, this is one time. Next time it's going to be 30 minutes again. Indeed, thank you so much. You have seen this ticker around the lower third of the screen. These are my roommates. These people are sponsoring the show, making the show possible. If you want to be a roommate, and then go ahead, go to patreon.com/Petra's Music Condo, and you can search for $1, $5, $10, and it's really appreciated because I want to do this every week. I want to really talk about music, and I want to do more than I'm doing right now, and that can only be done if I have some sponsors around. So I would really appreciate if you at least take the time to see if it's something that you can help me with, and if not, No problems there at all. That's no problem at all. Um, so that's it for today. Again, if you like this show, please share this video. Please comment. I will be watching the comments also after the show. So if you want to talk about something, then please let me know. This show is being broadcasted on Facebook and on YouTube. So on both sides of the social spectrum, I am live every Saturday at 9 p.m. Central European Time, 8 p.m. if you live in the UK, 3 p.m. if you live on the Eastern Standard Time, at noon Pacific Standard Time, and around about 7 a.m. on Sunday mornings if you live in Australia. And today we were talking about Australia. Some final remarks. Let me check. Some great info. I had no idea, says Floyd. Yeah, I mean, Floyd, I totally agree with you. I was doing some research today about Australia, and it was like, wow, I didn't know. No, I didn't know. I knew about NXS. NXS was like one of my favorite bands, so I really knew about that one. But that's it. So thank you so much for watching. See you around. Bye.